guitarart.com. I am Banjo Ben, your host here on the website that teaches you how to play banjo, mandolin. This is Guitar Week, and boy, is it ever. Y'all look at this thing. Look at this Brazilian beast I've got here. I wish I owned this. I don't. This is a Hooper guitar built by, actually, a member of the website, Ken Hooper. He builds Hooper guitars out of North Carolina. If you've got the money, and you've got a little time to wait because he has quite a waiting list, and you want one of the best guitars built, and I'm not getting paid to say this, but go see Ken Hooper. Not only is he one of the finest builders, but one of the finest fellers you're ever going to meet. This guitar actually belongs to another student on the website, Tom Harrison, who just let me borrow it so I could drool on it. And let me tell you, the favorite part about my job is not getting to play music, it's getting to know my students. Man, y'all are some of the coolest people ever, and you let me borrow your awesome guitars, so thank you. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to come over to the website. You can join as a GoPick member, view this whole lesson. It's about 30 minutes long. I'm going to teach you how to play these three solos exactly as I just performed it. The tab is exactly the way that I played it. You don't find that very often. And then I have 3 different speeds of MP3 jam tracks that you can download as a GoPick member and practice and get up to where you can burn this one down too. Let's jump right into the first solo. Let's have some fun, y'all. We're going to learn 3 advanced solos to John Henry. We're going to do it in the key of G. This song's played in all kinds of keys. We're going to do it in G today, and then, of course, if you want to play it higher, you can always capo. But the first solo, we're going to present the melody down low. Then we're going to move up an octave. Then we're going to do it the same octave, but just present it a different way up the neck. And there's advantages to all of those. We're going to talk about how to optimize these solos for speed. That's kind of what we're after in this one. Let's go ahead and throw up the first line of tab there. You'll notice a couple things. We have our pick direction arrows beneath each one of the notes. So down arrow would be a downstroke, up arrow would be upstroke, and that's important, especially later on as we get more syncopated. Okay, we also have our chords up there. You'll see that above that second measure that's labeled measure 3, but above that second measure is the letter G, so we're in G, and the version that I'm going to teach you, the progression I'm going to teach you, is a very common straight ahead version with just 2 chords. It's going to go G and it's going to jump to D a couple times, and we'll see that here. Now, first thing I'm going to think about is what is my melody for this song and what octave do I want to play it in? And the very basic melody for John Henry sounds like this. Okay, or some variation of that, but that's kind of what's running through my mind. Now, what's unique about that is whenever you're going fast, John Henry knows the melody notes hang out for a while on certain notes. Dum, bum, 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 bum. And there's not a lot of jumping around. It's not like Blackberry Blossom or something where there's always something to do. We have these long melody notes, so how are we going to sustain those long melody notes? If we had a fiddle, it wouldn't be that hard because we could just pull our bow across that note. But here we are on guitar, and we need to sustain that note. And one of the ways that we're going to do that is just simply slide into a note, hammer on into a note, and then play that note in progression. And that's what we're going to do here. Now, I'm not going to explain every little lick because this is more of an advanced lesson. I want to talk more about our process of coming up with these solos and how to play it fast. But here in the first measure, you're going to see that we're going to do a little kickoff starting on the second beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to come into our first measure, that melody there, measure 3. Let's label measure 3. John Henry, and we're going to establish that melody note by playing it once on that G string and then sliding into it. Let's do it with our middle finger, sliding into it from 2 to 5 on the second beat. Henry, and then we're just going to let that note hang there. Okay, so keep that note down for resonance purposes, and then we're just going to back it up with these eighth notes. Now, if you were playing slowly, that would sound a little weird. John Henry. You're like, well, why are you playing those? But when you're going fast, it's going to sound really good to have those repetitive notes. We get to measure 4 there. It's very self-explanatory. So we're going to stick close to the basic melody here, and we're going to use some hammer-ons here, measure 5. And land down on that low G note. Now I'm going to do that with my ring finger and let it ring out throughout that measure 6. Let me play a little slower for you, the whole line here. We'll do it much, much slower later on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now as we look at the second line here, starting measure 7, same type of thing, except now what I'm going to begin doing is I'm going to begin introducing a few hiccups into these long melody notes. And you'll see how I do that there in measure 7. The last beat there, I'm going to jump up and do this hammer-on from the flat 3 to the major 3. Okay, so all the right hand's the same, but the last two notes, it's just going to add just a little something in there to keep it interesting. The rhythm doesn't change, just the melody. As we walk down to measure 9, we're going to use the same technique to slide into the melody note and then also introduce a hiccup so that measure 9 sounds like this. Measure 11 is just kind of a mimicking of measure 7. Let me play 7 through 11. 1, 2. Measure 12, we're going to do another hammer-on, then walk down with quarter notes. And then measure 13, I'm also using the slide into this melody note. The melody goes bum, bum, bum. But my slide, I'm going to change from a downbeat that we've seen so far to an upbeat. So I'm going to play the open note first and then immediately come down for the slide. When we land down there, measure 14, keep that note down as we play those other notes. Measure 15. It's just like a measure 5 actually. And measure 16, all quarter notes, simple. This whole line. Measure 17, I love this this lick, and it's kind of tough to get it going real fast, but it sounds good when you do. We're going to do this hammer-on the first beat, then down, up on D and G. And do it again. We're going to do it 3 times in a row. And that's something that you can just hit pause and practice. It sounds really good when you get it fast and clean. Just make sure your wrist is limp, loose. Measure 19. Now we're going to just kind of go into some good old bluegrass flat picking here, coming out of 19 and using some of those G runs. One thing that's unique going into 20 is we're going to pull off going into the measure so that we don't pick the first downbeat measure 20. And then 21, just end it with a G run. I'll play this line for you. Now let's pause for a second and play through this whole solo very slowly. Then we'll take a look at raising the solo up an octave and then going up the neck, which gets to be a lot of fun.